Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
As we begin, there's a lot of breaking news happening, and we've got it all here live and local. I want to begin with Trump. Former President Donald J. Trump in D.C. meeting with Republican lawmakers, laying out, of course, and discussing his second-term agenda, as well as party unity. Remember, next month's convention is going to be here before we know it, and he will then become the party's official nominee. So they are discussing. Let's discuss the Trump campaign. I'm going to want to tell you all about the appeals, the persecution prosecution in Georgia, Fannie falling apart. We'll talk about that. We have some great audio with that this morning, and we'll go through it as far as Trump's appeals process, what his lawyers' strategies are as far as appealing the guilty verdicts by the jury in Manhattan. That's the Alvin Bragg case. So we'll go through all of that. But I want to start in Pennsylvania. The Trump campaign opening this new outreach office, and this is in Reading, Pennsylvania, in a heavily Latino part of Reading. That's the particular point I want to go for. When we talk about Marco Rubio's importance or various Congress members, whether they're local legislators or statewide lawmakers, when you think about their support and growing support for Trump, I'm very interested in that because, of course, we're looking at a close election. So this is known as the Latino Americans for Trump office in Reading. And this is one of the local reports from WFMZ. Just listen to this snippet as to how they were reporting it. Listen in. Do we have it yet? Maybe not. Okay, let me just open this up for you because it's critical that we think about the pastor who opens up in prayer, speaking Spanish. And so you have a Christian message here, a faith-based message, a family-focused message. That's really what's going on here. And so even though the local media is quick to point out, oh, well, this is only the second office for Trump, but look at Biden has dozens, some 24 of these offices across Pennsylvania, heavily staffed. That's one of the words that we keep hearing. But for Trump, these are targeted offices. Where are his offices? Think of it. One in Philadelphia going after the black vote and the other one in Reading, Pennsylvania. So here's the deal. I think if I'm Trump, I don't need all these offices everywhere else because all Trump has to do is hold a rally anyplace else. Think about it. If you look at every rural area, every area where Trump is supported by much of the state, he can call a rally. Everybody comes and supports him. But in these heavily populated areas, these heavily blue, right, Democrat populated areas, that's where he needs to infiltrate. And that's why he's doing that. So it's laser focused. I like it. Good for you. Listen to this report from WFMZ.
Fantastic to be in Berks County.
With the November election looming, the Trump campaign has opened the Latino Americans for Trump office in the 600 block of Penn Street in Reading. Berks County Commissioner Michael Rivera says it's important for various reasons.
It shows that the Republican Party understands the importance and relevance of the Latino community.
Other speakers at the office's opening included Republican U.S. Senate candidate Dave McCormick. Some topics brought up were inflation and crime. McCormick spoke about his recent trip to the border.
This is the most important election in our lifetimes, and we have to act like our lives, our futures, depend on it, because it does.
Among what Alvernia history professor Tim Blessing says a candidate would have to promise to win the Latino vote in Pennsylvania.
That we are going to respect parental rights, that we are going to protect churches from governmental interference, and that we are going to protect entrepreneurship.
In a statement on the opening of the office in Reading, the Biden-Harris campaign said in part, quote, "The truth is Donald Trump has failed Latinos and our families, while President Biden has actually delivered real results for Pennsylvanians, like lowering health care costs, creating good-paying jobs, resulting in the lowest Latino unemployment ever, and making historic investments leading to Latino small businesses opening at the fastest rate in a decade.
We are going to get every Latino vote in Pennsylvania, are we not?
Jack Reinhardt.
So that is the Jack Reinhardt report, WFMZ. Just wanted to give you the flavor and the sense of it. And by the way, the headlines on so-called mainstream media, here's the headline. Trump returning to Capitol Hill to meet with Republican lawmakers, a first since the January 6th attack. So they're all bringing up J6, isn't that? That's all in the headlines. But Trump has returned. He's in these private meetings with House and Senate Republicans and GOP lawmakers, finding themselves, it's being reported, newly energized, reinvigorated by his bid to retake the White House. He's doing well in the polls. And despite what happened in Manhattan, I'll get into that one and into exactly what his attorneys, what we know about his appeals process with Judge Juan Merchan. But as far as this goes, he's meeting with, obviously, Mike Johnson, longtime supporter. No matter what you think about House Speaker Johnson, he has been loyal to Trump, longtime loyalist to Trump. And so Johnson saying, we're very excited to welcome President Trump back, calling him President Trump. And so you have that going on. But you also have Trump meeting with Mitch McConnell. And so he is bringing forth party unity. Trump is scheduled to deliver remarks to both of these groups at the House and Senate campaign headquarters. It's right near the U.S. Capitol there, talking about the issues in his campaign: immigration, deportations, tax cuts, and other priorities like making America great again, of course. All right. I want to get, so he may be, when he does speak, when and if we're expecting that he will speak, of course, that we'll take it. But I do want to get into the key issues that we're seeing and we knew that his team, after the verdict and so on, what was his team working on, his team of attorneys. So we know the key issues that will be argued on appeal to overturn the guilty verdicts by that Manhattan jury that we have reported on, including the prosecutors never even identified any underlying felony to the resurrected, misdemeanor bookkeeping charges that had lapsed. We have that one going on. So I think it's important and we knew that, but I think it's important once we actually see the appeal, once we actually see what's going on here. The three key issues he can argue in that prosecutors never ID'd the underlying felony because it was, if you think about it, it was a misdemeanor because any felony, once you make it the campaign issue, that's a federal felony. This is a state court. But and remember that the misdemeanor bookkeeping charges had already lapsed. Remember, this is why people said this is impossible. How can Alvin Bragg even get this through? Because of all the time that had lapsed. The other two issues for appeal involve the prejudicial testimony and prejudicial evidence that the trial judge Merchan allowed to be admitted. Remember the testimony about the infamous Access Hollywood tape, shouldn't have allowed it. Remember, even the judge had tried to sort of mitigate the fact that he knew he messed up after Stormy Daniels' ridiculous testimony went on and on. And I've talked a lot about that the Ninth Circuit, when you think about why they overturned, just recently the Harvey Weinstein case, which must have been morally tough to overturn a case like that. I don't think anybody doubts that scumbag, what he did to actresses over the years in the Harvey Weinstein case, right? And so the Ninth Circuit looked at the law and said, oh man, you can't bring in the testimony of these other so-called victim statements or alleged witnesses when they have nothing to do with the case that's the present case. So Stormy Daniels, her testimony went way overboard. It was way over the top. And so we've heard experts talk about this. And so the judge's instructing the jurors that they would have to find that only Trump committed bookkeeping infractions to conceal a campaign finance violation, tax law infraction, or falsification of business records. And they didn't even have to agree on any underlying crime to actually find the former president guilty. I mean, it was bizarre how you could, remember I talked about the mixing and matching. You can mix and match this one with this one, and it's okay. So the issue of the absence of a second crime is exactly the kind of legal question that would be prime for appellate review. That from some of the top legal minds in the country. This one I'm quoting is John Yoo, who's a professor of the University of California, Berkeley, former Justice Department official. You've heard me interview him before. And as well, Tom Hogan, professor at South Texas College of Law in Houston, said an appeals court would be very suspect of these instructions, way over the top, ridiculous. And the fact that the prosecution that was never even forced by the judge to identify specifically and lay out the actual crime. I mean, that's a key basic part of any trial, any situation. Under your constitutional rights, you have to be told way in advance what you're being charged with exactly. And they never even learned that until they were well into this trial. And so then the jurors were permitted to choose their own underlying crime and then mix and match with it. It was nuts. And I'm obviously paraphrasing some of these eloquent legal scholars. I think you don't have to be a legal scholar to understand that a lot went haywire in that. But when you read through the transcripts, which I have, there were points when Judge Juan Merchan, when you knew that he was trying to cover himself, he realized, oh boy, I really goofed up on that one. But he persisted through it, right? He just trudged through it because I think the Democrats, all they really wanted, the agenda, was just so they could call this guy a convicted felon. But then it just boomerangs back on them because of, well, you have Hunter Biden, but you also have all this, justice, judicial reform, and weaponization of government. And you have minority and poor communities saying, yeah, Trump feels our pain, you see. And so for Democrats, it just comes right back in their face. It was an historic conviction, first time, and I must mention this, first time a former president facing criminal trials like that, criminal charges, and then going to trial on top of it. Yes, that Manhattan jury found him guilty on all 34 counts, but many have argued that the judge jumped through hoops to make it such that the jury was already locked in. They had no other choices really but to go through his instructions. And so those are the arguments laid out. I do want to get into what happened in Georgia, and you'll hear some of that audio moving forward. It is crazy. And we also have the Supreme Court's rulings, the latest on SCOTUS, coming out with some important rulings that I want to go through. All the local news, your thoughts, 855-839-1210. Great guests lined up on this Thursday ahead of happy birthday, Mr. President. President Trump's birthday tomorrow. He's in D.C. here today. Will he stay in Jersey? And I don't know. Wouldn't it be awesome if he went to that golf course, a Trump course in Jersey, where Nick Cale, our own Nick Cale, will be golfing? And I wonder if Rich Scioli will be around too. Could get interesting around here tomorrow. But happy birthday ahead of time, President Donald J. Trump, and Flag Day tomorrow as well. This is The Dawn Show. I really appreciate you being here at Dawn Stensland on Twitter, 855-839-1210. If you want to sound off or call in, be right back.
Cancer, a scary word, but not so scary if you have the right team. Hi, this is John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And that team is Dr. Molly Fantasia and the medical staff at Innovative Medical Associates. Yes, cancer is a scary word and a difficult condition if you've been diagnosed. Over the years, the staff at Innovative Medical Associates has helped hundreds of patients with their unique medical hydration protocols. Cancer support is a large part of the practice at Innovative Medical Associates.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Talk about improving your quality of life. Most likely, that'll happen when you visit Innovative Medical Associates. Check them out on the web at innovativemedicalassociates.com or call 856-489-0505 to schedule your initial complimentary consultation.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have absolutely incredible offers and a plethora of both new and certified Volvos from which to choose. We are eager to offer amazingly competitive prices, plus an additional $1,000 Costco discount on all new Cherry Hill Volvos. When leasing or purchasing a new or certified Cherry Hill Volvo, you become a valued part of our team. Join Cherry Hill Volvo for the pricing and attention you deserve. I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo.
Did you know you can stream Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app? Just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio to hear the voices you trust. Brian Kilmeade.
Why are we so scared of Iran thinking that we're at war with them?
Guy Benson.
Get the bleep out of here. It's disgusting.
Jimmy Fallon.
Then this administration rolled into town with a checkbook.
Are all on the free Odyssey app. From the news and talk to keep you informed and up to date during election season. Listen to Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. From your kitchen table to our airwaves, the Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
The breaking news involving the Supreme Court announcing its ruling that the Supreme Court has preserved full access to a widely used abortion pill. This case is a huge political win for Republicans in the upcoming November election. Now, maybe personally, you feel differently about what it means for pro-life. But as far as the life of Republicans winning future elections, and in particular this upcoming election this fall, this is a huge win for Republicans. The court unanimously overturned that federal appeals ruling that would have barred and banned mail order prescriptions for a drug that's now used in more than half of all abortions across the United States of America. It's known as mifepristone. So this was a lower court ruling that would have reduced abortion access, even in states where reproductive rights have broad support. Now, this medication, this is different than so-called Plan B. So I just want to make this point. Plan B is a widely used so-called morning after pill that is advertised as, if you look at all of the information, and the FDA and the government and the doctors all say that Plan B is a morning after pill in which, if a woman is already pregnant, does not disturb or harm her pregnancy. What it does is it brings on her period. I'm just gonna put it out there. Just boom, brings on the period, and so that you're not. It pushes off the ovulation. There's no egg. There's no pregnancy. But if the woman's already pregnant with Plan B, Plan B is advertised as the morning after. So it would be for somebody who had unexpected relations and wanted to make sure that they weren't, going to get pregnant, or it could be used, for example, for a rape victim, sex assault victim. It's widely used and known to be safe. I'm not talking about Plan B. I'm talking about the actual abortion pill. And this is why the abortion debate is becoming more and more antiquated, quite frankly, because more than half, well over half, are these prescriptions, this medication, this pill, so-called, that a woman can get in the mail, can take, and it ends her pregnancy. So this is high stakes, obviously. You know, the headlines were for Democrats. They said that this was something that carried major stakes for reproductive rights. And they had predicted that the predominantly conservative court would turn away from women's and turn back women's reproductive rights, et cetera, et cetera. But the truth is, Democrats hoped that the mostly conservative court would in fact make this abortion pill illegal in America, because they know what would have happened. They would have activated a whole group of individuals who cared about reproductive rights. And so this is a major ruling, but the justices unanimously, and it's in truth, if we're being honest with each other, because I know you're going to be upset, many of you are going to be upset because this is a pro-life issue. For this court, they're looking at states' rights, they're looking at other issues within this, and what they're saying is, no, you're not allowed to do this. So all of these different medications, whether it's the abortion pill or Plan B, the vast majority of these, if you look it up online, look at your local pharmacy, they get them in the mail. And so the mail, which is run by the federal system, becomes a big issue. Boom. So there it is. So it's perhaps you don't view it as a victory for pro-lifers. However, it is a victory for Republicans on this level. So I don't hear reaction yet from Donald J. Trump or Joe Biden on this. Joe Biden obviously has been at the G7 summit. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Russian warships as well. That's concerning. We're watching the Russian warships in Cuban waters. We want to get into international law as well. We have a great interview coming up, so I want to stay to time here as we think about that. But we'll have a great interview coming up at 10:30. Another one, Elizabeth Stelly, is up at 11:05, so I'll take a quick break. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Get slimmer for this summer without any shots. NJ Diet is nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. You will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days, contractually guaranteed. NJ Diet uses your hair and saliva along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements to get you to shed that fat quickly. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. You are fully monitored the entire time, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations close by in Cherry Hill, King of Prussia, Princeton, and Newark, Delaware, or NJ Diet is available from home with live online video consultations. Lose the weight the natural way, quickly and safely. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. Get slimmer for the summer and without any shots. That's njdiet.com to lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. Go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
This summer's temperatures are getting hot, hot, hot. Luckily, Hutchinson Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Heating is here to help keep you cool. Right now, get $50 off same-day AC repair. Or go ahead and upgrade that old unit and save up to $3,700 toward a new full home comfort system. Same-day service, expert technicians, and a job done right the first time. Need service today? Visit HutchComfort.com, and Hutchinson's help is on the way.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Donald Trump will return to Capitol Hill to meet with Republican lawmakers, a first since the January 6th insurrection. Fired SpaceX employees sued the company for wrongfully terminating critics of CEO Elon Musk, and Boston takes a 3-0 lead over Dallas in the NBA Finals, a deficit no team in league history has overcome.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in an accident and would like to know the value of your case, it's easy. Go to forthepeople.com and go to verdicts and settlements to see cases just like yours. You may see numbers that are much higher than what your lawyer is telling you. You see, all lawyers are not the same. Some may only handle a few injury cases a year. This is all we do. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Hey, Mount Laurel. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
So we'll get into an interview talking about the upcoming presidential election, politics in Pennsylvania, and a focus on providing you some insights, some real insights into the GOP strategies to winning here in Pennsylvania. So we'll give you a real insider's look in just a few minutes. But I just want to wrap this up, and forgive me as this is a major breaking news story that just came down as I was, coming on the air about 10:05, 10:07-ish. But the Supreme Court, citing unanimously, and Justice Kavanaugh wrote the opinion, unanimously ruling against doctors who brought this challenge, to the so-called abortion pill mifepristone. So it's FDA v. the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine, So these doctors brought the suit, and the Supreme Court holding that the doctors do not have a standing here. And they were challenging what the FDA allows, And so they wanted to roll back. They felt like the FDA was wrong in its regulations regarding the abortion pill. And so this is part of what Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Trump nominee, wrote. Under Article 3 of the Constitution, a plaintiff's desire to make a drug less available for others does not establish standing to sue. Nor do the plaintiff's other standings theories suffice. And so that breaking news, this is a majority opinion. So for all the media members, and think about how they go, the Supreme Court, Trump. Oh, that Trump, he has all those Republican MAGA justices, including Kavanaugh, right? Well, this is Kavanaugh writing the opinion, which I think is very significant. I just feel like saying, oh yeah, in your face. So Kavanaugh writing this and saying that essentially, no, these doctors don't have a standing here. And the FDA can do this. And you, as the doctors, as the plaintiffs, have no standing on this regard. Boom, there it is. That's the abortion pill ruling. It's, to be clear though, this is not a ruling about abortion. It's a ruling about the doctor's rights, or the plaintiffs in this case, the doctor's rights to say that and to draw these complaints and conclusions about what the FDA is doing. So it's a court that respects the Constitution and the rules, and they've been consistent. I'm just gonna point out in Roe v. Wade, that case was not necessarily about abortion. It was about states' rights. That's what it was about. This court ruled correctly and unanimously because this court respects the laws and our Constitution. So I'll just be curious throughout the day, and we'll track this. What will the liberal media that has been claiming that this court is an over-the-top Trump, MAGA, crazy conservative court, what will they now say? Do you see what I'm saying? How will they spin this one? And so I'll predict for you that they'll cover it today, and then it just goes away. Will it even be a lead story? I kind of doubt it. They'll just slowly throughout the day bury the story. We do. Okay, Steve Ulrich is in the house. Let's talk with Steve, managing editor for Politics PA, as well as an author, of course, at Broad and Liberty. So your latest piece, as you're talking about what's going on here, hey, Steve, how are you today?
Good morning, Dawn. I'm doing great, thank you. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm sort of, this is live. We're live and we're local, and we really try to bring our listeners the latest. What's your reaction, first of all? Can I just get your reaction on this latest SCOTUS ruling? And I know you're familiar with what the issue was with this so-called, abortion pill, mifepristone. This is not Plan B. I just want to emphasize that. But it's mifepristone, which is responsible for more than half of all of the abortions by mail. And the Supreme Court coming down, and we're just learning about this live during the show. But what's your reaction to this ruling as far as the implications, looking at the political implications for this, and especially here in Pennsylvania?
Well, certainly, Don, I'm glad I had a chance to look at it just before we came on the air. What always strikes me about the Supreme Court is when they deny something for lack of standing. It almost comes off as we're ready to deal with it, but not at the moment, so we can write it off as not the right group of people brought it forward. So although I think that a decision one way or the other based upon the case would have been important as it affects the political landscape in the Commonwealth, I think just by essentially, in my mind anyway, punting it for lack of standing, I don't think it will have much of an effect at all.
Yeah, but it could have, I think Democrats were hoping and lighting candles, hoping that this court would have ruled, in other words, to shut down this abortion pill in the mail. And because at that point they could continue with the narrative to say, see, this is a MAGA court. This is a Trump court, and they want all women, they want to take away your reproductive rights.
I agree with you there. I think that's absolutely right. I think Democrats would have liked it to be able to continue the narrative. I'm not sure that this ruling necessarily takes that away, but it certainly doesn't raise it to the forefront as we begin to look ahead to November.
Right. I just wanted to get your take on it, because this is, and obviously it's a case that stems from that lawsuit originally filed by the Alliance Defending Freedom on behalf of the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine. This was a group of pro-life doctors, pro-life medical professionals, and the lawsuit had claimed that the FDA really never had the authority to approve this chemical abortion regimen. It's 2 pills. And so that was the claim, that the FDA just didn't have that authority to approve this and then to approve it to be mailed. So I think you're right that the court is sort of, it's like a volleyball, volleying it back and saying,
right.
And I think that's true. However, on a political landscape, not even getting into the abortion issue, I imagine that Republican pundits and Republican, anybody involved in the upcoming election feels like the Republicans dodged a bullet.
I think you could go that direction as well. Certainly, Pennsylvania, as we know, is the tipping point in this entire election. Women are going to be probably the deciding factor when it comes to where Pennsylvania's electoral votes go. And anything that could have rallied, let's say, suburban women to come out to the polls and vote Democrat, such as a decision in this matter, could have been the deciding factor when all is said and done. So in that respect, yes, I think you could say the GOP definitely caught a break with this one.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's move on, if you will, to what we wanted to talk about. And some of your latest pieces. One is you talk about in Broad and Liberty, your latest piece, thinking about the 538 model, Pennsylvania. You believe that Pennsylvania is the 2024 tipping point. Take us through your piece that just dropped yesterday in Broad and Liberty, broadandliberty.com. What do you mean by that?
538 is an American website that focuses on opinion poll analysis, and they just dropped their model. And I'm sure, Dawn, you probably promised your listeners no math in today's show, but we have to go into it a little bit because what they hope to do with their model is combine not only the latest poll results, but also what they refer to as fundamentals. What is consumer sentiment right now? What is inflation? What's the jobs report? To try to give those who go to the site an idea of the uncertainty that comes into the 2024 election. And as we've all known for a number of cycles now, Pennsylvania is going to be the deciding factor. But this website basically comes out and says, we're going to run 20,000 simulations of how this race could go, tweaking the data just a little bit. And as it plays out today, Joe Biden would win 53 out of 100 times. Donald Trump would win 47 out of 100. That's nationally. In the Commonwealth, it's 57-43 Biden. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that Joe Biden has a 57% chance of winning in Pennsylvania. What that does say today, though, is that with the data they have, this is what the model shows. There's a lot of uncertainty with the model, certainly, and this group isn't necessarily trying to tell you how to vote, but they're trying to lay out there in graph form exactly how it all could play out. It's fascinating data if you like diving into it. Right now, polls are being weighted a little bit less. The thought was that polls at this juncture are still kind of all over the place. It gives us a great look at it, maybe a horse race. We like that kind of stuff, but it's not the best predictor. Polls get better with time. So as we get into September and October, your favorite poll will probably be closing in on what the actual outcome could be. Right now, this model focuses more on, as we said, there's fundamentals. What's the consumer sentiment? Do you feel that grocery prices are too high, gas prices are too high? How do you feel about the job market? And that's why, at this point, Joe Biden is perceived to be in the lead. And when you look at the race to 270 electoral votes, Pennsylvania's 19 seems to be what they refer to as the tipping point, the one state that would push one candidate or the other over the top.
Can you explain what makes this 538.com, their projections and their way, that their methodology, if you will, of how they poll? Because, of course, I think after the recent elections, you know, when we were supposed to get a red wave, and then we did not get a red wave, and people go, the polls, okay, I'll take it with a grain of salt. What's so different about this?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's not necessarily based on a poll. We did a podcast, Voices of Reason for Politics, PA, and Broad and Liberty, which talked about polling in Pennsylvania. And polling is just a snapshot. And why is it that perhaps, I don't know, have you ever been contacted to participate in a poll via phone? Nope. I know I never have. And we went through the reasons of why that might be. It might be you look at your caller ID and you're just kind of like, yeah, I don't want to pick up this number. It's unknown, whatever it might be. Yeah. So you begin to think about what it takes to get 600 registered voters, 800 likely voters, and all of that. and how a poll is really just a snapshot in time. This is trying to take data that goes all the way back to 1948, and there was some discussion whether they should go back that far, or maybe back to 1996 with the second election of Bill Clinton, and whether that should be the benchmark, because that was really when the age of, if you will, polarization really kicked off across the Pennsylvania and the American political landscape. So there's so much data that is being poured into these supercomputers. That's what I'm left to believe. It's just got to be a supercomputer that can run all these things, and leads you to believe that it is more data-driven than it is personality-driven, how you feel on a given day. And that's where today, I think the data shows that perhaps we're going to lean toward the incumbent as we get closer to November. If the polls remain in the favor of the former president, right now the average of the last 5 polls in Pennsylvania shows Donald Trump up by 3 points. If that would continue, I think you would very quickly see this simulation change.
Yeah, it's cool how they say, you can look at the purple states. And I had said earlier, I'd said last week, I think Nevada is a swing state. They have it as purple. Trump was just in Nevada. We have Arizona, another swing state, is purple. They're leaving Georgia with
right.
but they're saying that Trump wins in their algorithm, however you want to say it. Trump would win Georgia, but they're just noting that it's a swing state.
I think what's fascinating right now is there are 7 swing states, certainly Pennsylvania, the biggest among them. But I think Democrats would like to consider, as you mentioned, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina, all to be in play. But I think the bottom line for anything you look at right now, if Joe Biden does not win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Donald Trump will be back in the White House next year at this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fascinating. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I love that this is something new and something different that we can go through because we have the sort of old school polls that we look at every day. We talk about them, and then we say, meh, well, it's the old snapshot. I'm not going to believe it anymore because they're wrong so much of the time.
Exactly. Until they poll the two of us and others like us, maybe there's something to that. But I think right now, if you were really interested in this type of statistical modeling, and like I said, I know that we said no math was going to be involved here, but the model will update on a daily basis. So when I first came across this, it was 52-48 Biden. Today it's 53-47. This is nationwide. But a week ago, before they published it, I was listening to the gentleman who produced all this. He said it was 60-40 Trump. So on a daily basis, you could go back and look at and try to get a sense where the race is. My advice would be, just like your stock portfolio, don't do that on a daily basis. You'll lose your mind.
I love it.
Yeah. Look at it once a week, once every 2 weeks. Get a sense of where the race is. And next time your caller ID says unknown number, you may want to pick it up because it might be a pollster asking your opinion.
Yeah, and my husband and I talk about this all the time when we say, are there really any swing voters? We talk about, the swing voters. I tend to think that it's more of a situation where let's go back to 2016 for a second. Right. And I just think of how former President Obama, he was here. They were having rallies. People would show up and they were like, yay, we're excited to see Obama. Oh, Hillary? Not so much. So people just maybe stayed home. Maybe that she didn't energize certain people, or the mistakes that were made along the way. As far as remember, Wisconsin, she just completely took Wisconsin and other voters for granted. So is that something that you think is in play here in Pennsylvania? Certain communities feeling taken for granted or just not energized?
Absolutely. Could not agree with you more. You go back to 2016, and one of the, for lack of a better phrase, tipping points was Luzerne County up near Wilkes-Barre. There was a book that I read on that topic, and basically said exactly what you just said. we felt forgotten. No one cares about us. You're paying all your attention to Philadelphia or Allegheny County. What about us? And Donald Trump was able to connect with voters in Luzerne County and the neighboring areas around, even around Scranton, which I think every Democratic politician claims is their own hometown now. That's for another story for another time. But that was what I think those who we identify as swing voters are. What will you do for me? It's always the economy. We talk about that all the time. But in the end, we find that voters end up retreating or coming home, if you will, retreating to their party. So you do kind of wonder, what is the rationale? Why would someone walk into their polling place on Election Day and say, I really don't know who I'm going to vote for right now? That is hard to fathom. I think as you walk around your neighborhood, my neighborhood, any neighborhood, it's difficult to find someone who hasn't already made up their mind.
Well, Steve, we'll leave it there. I thank you so much for joining me and giving me those insights into Pennsylvania. And no doubt, we always say you have to pass through Pennsylvania and win PA, certainly, to head to the White House. But Steve, thanks a million. BroadandLiberty.com if you want to check out Steve's latest article.
Don, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Steve Ulrich. It's really great. I do love these different kinds of, especially if it's interactive and just showing you all of the different, how they run the algorithms, how they run it. Do you believe any polls anymore? I think I will look at it. I find it interesting. And certainly if somebody's trying to do something new, but I don't believe the polls anymore. I've lost faith in all of that. And I tend to look at the campaigns and trust my instincts. And if you think about this, think about Trump in Nevada. Recently, he's focusing on Wisconsin, focusing on Pennsylvania. The Trump camp already knows which states are the key states for sure. I do want to get into what's going down in Georgia, because Georgia, we know, is in play. And what happened in the courts this week, it's unbelievable. So we're going to bring that to you, because remember, they allow the cameras in those courtrooms. So some real fireworks, and it's on really Trump's side of things, Trump winning this, and Fani Willis losing big time. So we'll talk about all of that. But you know what else we got to talk about? Summertime. No time like the present to get back out on the roads. For us, we always, plan our family trip, and we love our road trip. But for my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, they're always going to help you find that luxury vehicle. Maybe you've been eyeing a luxury vehicle, an upgrade. Piazza has thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles from some of the most beautiful, powerful vehicles on the roadway. I'm talking about brands like Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Jaguar, Maserati, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, and more. Just visit them, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. You can stop by one of their many Pennsylvania, Delaware, or New Jersey dealers. PIAZZA, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Is there anybody out there that would be worse than Elvis for you?
If there's anybody out there who wants to torture me.
Springsteen.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine a week of Springsteen
Let's
music?
do Bruce. Does Madonna trigger you?
Yeah, I don't like her either.
Okay. Do you want to put together a list of the artists that trigger you the most? We'll just keep rattling off things for charity. Just create the list of everything you hate in the world.
Bruce would do it. John Mellencamp.
Okay.
He's another one. About Jack and Diane.
It's all for a great cause.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
If you're looking for that perfect piece of furniture, you have to check out Bucks County Estate Traders. They have the largest in-stock inventory in the region, and I mean largest, enough to fill a 58,000 square foot showroom. Quality, high-end furniture and accessories, modern, traditional, mid-century, all types of European styles, current pieces, as well as antiques. They'll arrange to ship anywhere, or you can pick up in-store. So visit them on Bethlehem Pike in Hatfield or at BucksCountyEstateTraders.com.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Do you know when the best time to buy investment properties is? It's now. It's always now. You just need to learn how to buy them correctly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night and learn how to buy investment properties and make money every time. That's right. That's what we teach. We teach how to buy investment properties and make money every time. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now. Take a class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Don't go through life ignorant about how to become a millionaire. Learn how to invest in real estate, the stock market, precious metals, and learn from an expert. At Investor Schooling, we teach these things and more. We only provide education, and we will teach you how to leverage real estate, how to leverage the stock market, and how to leverage precious metals to make more money than you've ever made before. Go to investorschooling.com and take a complimentary class this Thursday. We will see you there. investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-721-4643. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-721-4643 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-721-4643. 800-721-4643. 800-721-4643.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle. Unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Free speech lives here with Don Stensland weekdays 10 till noon. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
So I had retweeted, I think I retweeted this, this morning, Riley Gaines reacting to what she called great news that Leah Thomas, or she writes, Thomas won't be able to compete in women's category at the Olympics or any other elite competition. He has just lost his legal battle in the Court of Arbitration for Sport ruling. This is a victory for women and girls everywhere. So you know that I covered this extensively, and even some of you at the time, remember, had called in about what was happening locally here at the University of Pennsylvania. And I talked to parents. Some of you were calling in at the time. It got emotional, but many, contacting me, speaking privately about what was happening in the locker room with somebody. And it was horrible. When you think about this, that these young women were blind. First of all, let me just take you back on this, just to remind you. So what happened at UPenn was these young women, they're swimmers, right? Now, all of a sudden, they're told, there's a meeting. And, there's a meeting. And some of the girls go, look, there's Will Thomas. Huh. Why is Will Thomas on the guys' swimming team? Why is he in with our team meeting? This is unusual, but okay, no biggie. And there's Will Thomas. They all know he's on the guys' swimming team. And he's been swimming on the guys' swimming team for a couple of years, right? And not doing great, just mediocre. Okay, no big deal. So now they get the announcement, oh, by the way, Will is now Leah, and she is going to be swimming with you. And they're like, what? And so completely blindsided by this. And when reporting this from the young women's attitudes, and you may remember this if you were listening at the time, but what they were saying was, oh my goodness, just dealing with this. We're in the locker room, and there is Leah Thomas, who's now identifying as a female, but did not get any kind of surgery. And so there is Leah Thomas, by name, a female name, I suppose, but, when you're in your locker room and you're undressing and you turn around and there is a very tall, 6'2", 6'3", tall male body, naked male body, and by the way, standing at full attention. So there's an aspect of, wow, oh, and having eye contact. And that's another, I asked my teenage sons, do guys, when you're in the locker room just as a bunch of guys, do you have like eye contact? If you're walking around the locker room, do guys just walk around just like, I don't know, swinging around the locker room? And my sons were like, ew, Mom, no. I mean, guys, first of all, nobody's having eye contact. That would be kind of creepy. And second of all, maybe the most confident guys would walk around, but you got to have a lot of confidence, and you're in with a bunch of guys. But no. So when I said, well, so that's not normal to you, right? To have that kind of eye contact. And so it felt for many of these young women, they felt intimidated when they went to say that. And one in particular who, I interviewed, who said how intimidating this was because she was, and I'll break in a moment, give me 30 seconds, because I always get it in my ear, we got to break, but let me just finish up this point, and it's an important one, that we had young women who were survivors of sexual assaults, and at least one, I interviewed. Imagine yourself being a survivor as a teenage girl, something horrible happened to you, and now you have this in a locker room with a male body and male apparatus, and that guy is staring you in the face. And when you go to complain or express your fear, you are told to shut up. I believe that these young women, locally and across the country, I believe they were damaged. I believe that this was wrong. I believe their constitutional rights have been violated, and I'm thankful that at least this committee, and it's in Switzerland, said, no, it's not going to happen. So it's a victory for females and a victory for females and women everywhere, but in particular in the arena of sports. 855-839-1210 at Dawn Stensland. We'll talk more. I'll get into the Fannie Willis, the Trump prosecutor, as well as the Georgia election alleged interference case, all of that and so much more coming right up.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month, a savings of nearly $300 a year.
Whether you need a $100,000 policy or a $10 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-637-9116. That's 1-800-637-9116. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-637-9116. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
According to a study conducted by Atticus Law Firm, 40% of retirees were forced back into the workforce because they received a deceptive sales pitch from their broker. But there is one way to ensure that you don't become part of that statistic.
Tony Gambone and Denise Gambone, Royersford, Pennsylvania.
I know people that had to go back to work because they got bad investment advice from brokers. By recording our sessions, crash-proof retirement proves they're willing to put their money where their mouth is.
The recordings used by Crash Proof Retirement is just a natural extension of how Crash Proof is legally bound to do right for the consumer.
Guarantee legally binding transparency for your retirement future. Schedule an appointment or register for the next Crash Proof Retirement educational event at Downingtown Country Club on Tuesday, July 23rd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows.
See Willie Nelson's 4th of July picnic with Bob Dylan, Robert Plant, Alison Krauss, and many more at Freedom Mortgage Pavilion. And check out Daryl Hall and Elvis Costello at TD Pavilion at the Man July 10th. See Joe Russo's Almost Dead at Island Water Park at Showboat Resort July 13th. There's an evening with James Taylor at TD Pavilion at the Man August 30th. And see Pod Save America at the Met Philadelphia presented by Highmark on October 6th. For tickets and info, go to livenation.com.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. If you drive a car, you want it to last a long time and not cost you lots of money in the long run. You need to get your car serviced at United Tire and Service. I get my car serviced at one of their 10 locations throughout the Delaware Valley. You should too. Right now, get an oil change on any make or model, and they'll do a free summer trip check so you're ready to hit the road. 20-point safety check, brakes, belts, important fluid levels, lights, even the spare tire. To find the location nearest you, go to UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-329-2121. That's 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
So locally, Philadelphia City Council obviously meets on Thursday. A lot on that agenda. We'll talk about it as well. DJT in D.C., and Republicans welcoming him in. Trump is expected to speak today, so when he does, we'll take it. You'll hear from DJT. Will he talk about this latest SCOTUS ruling and respond to questions about the ruling in which that MAGA court created by Trump, they're so biased. And guess what? They actually did not put the kibosh on the mail-in mifepristone so-called abortion pill. It wasn't really about the abortion issue, as I've been saying. Hi, Dawn Stensland here. But it's a major win for Republicans coming up this November, just to recap my first hour. Let's talk about Fannie Willis, okay, because this is a real headache. And so I want to headline this. We'll go to a guest, and I want to bring the audio to you. But Fannie Willis, the persecutor in Georgia, could be facing a fresh headache in DJT's Georgia so-called election interference case after the former prosecutor Nathan Wade agreed to that TV interview. We played it earlier for you. And so Willis, who's the DA there, reelected for Fulton County, Georgia, which covers most of the city of Atlanta, she had indicted Trump as well as former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, 17 others, for the alleged fraud in that Georgia case in 2020 in the presidential election. They've all pleaded not guilty. And so will it get thrown out? There's a lot to go through, and I will take you through not only a reminder of what happened during the CNN interview where things went wrong and we will play that. But as well, what happened in court. So we're going to get through all of it, but I want to bring in my next guest, who's a frequent, Elizabeth Stelly. We want to talk, and we're mixing it up today between the breaking news of today, Elizabeth, so forgive me as we go to all the breaking news. SCOTUS bringing forth its rulings. There's another one with Starbucks had sued Biden's, some say weaponized National Labor Board, but it's a win for Starbucks and businesses, as that's another ruling that SCOTUS is coming out on and saying, well, judges should look at the individual case, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the judges are allowed to look at the individual cases in this with regard to what's happening in each individual case, and not giving sort of broad brush power by all of these different by Biden's national labor, group. So that's another headline. We just had a local coffee shop group in Philadelphia shut down because a local employer, mom and pop shop, and they unionized, and the local owner said, I can't afford it, and it put them under, and they dissolved, closed up shop, and the union's trying to go after them. Those kind of lawsuits we've seen. I mean, there has to be a balance in between, the cost effective, especially in this economy, because the margins are so thin that sometimes you have to weigh that. And so the union went through, they voted to unionize. However, now nobody has a job. They're still trying to go after the owner. But in any event, I just wanted to bring forth that one. Elizabeth, tell me what's going on in your world right now as you look at DJT. Give me your reaction to the latest ruling as far as mifepristone stands. It's allowed to be mailed out. Trump is in D.C. trying to unify the party. What do you see your reaction to all these local breaking stories happening within the past, really happening right now?
Yeah, well, I was looking through SCOTUS blog this morning, Don, because I know we're all awaiting lots of decisions on that side of what's happening in D.C., which does have ramifications on the state level, which is, where I work and my expertise. Mm-hmm. I'm no expert in the law here. I'm not a lawyer. I'll preface all of that.
Nor am I.
But I think, and I think what this says to me, because, this is an issue that Commonwealth Nation works on, but what it says to me is that, Congress needs to be in control here. And I think too many times what's happened is Congress has delegated its authority to other branches, to the agencies that have just run roughshod over what Congress meant. And so to me what this says is if you want to change FDA policy, you need to engage Congress, and you need to change what the FDA can do. So, that's my big high-level takeaway from all of this. And I think, there's definitely an appetite for the American people as we see more issues. You mentioned the National Labor Relations Board. I mean, any ABC agency in D.C., I hear this over and over again, they're overstepping their bounds. They're interpreting things in ways that Congress never intended. So I think Congress has a lot of work to do, and that's sort of my big takeaway.
Yeah, to me, I think it's terrific to look at the faces of some of the individuals in so-called mainstream media as they have they've reported on the MAGA court, and look at that Justice Alito and his wife flying a flag and so on and so forth, and they're all, biased judges and they should step down or recuse themselves. Well, now they come out with a unanimous ruling because, to your point, they're saying they're really ruling on the side of law, the law of the land.
Yeah.
And boom.
Right. The FDA can do this. If you don't like it, change the law.
Let's focus in now. And I know you're writing a lot about schools. We've talked a lot about school choice, CommonwealthFoundation.org, and your great policy analysis as you are the director there at Commonwealth Foundation. Elizabeth, you're writing your headline, Pennsylvania schools don't need more money, students need alternatives. So what's your reaction to the latest with people like Jay-Z? When you think of somebody like Jay-Z, big, Obama supporter, right? But now Jay-Z and this eclectic group of individuals such as, well, I know Meek Mill in the past has supported school vouchers, or at the very least, the Lifeline scholarships. And so what's your take on this as we see, I don't know, maybe we're seeing some Democrats really kind of squirm because they're heavily funded by the union leadership of the teachers union, which is against charter schools, cyber schools, any kind of school vouchers, Lifeline vouchers. What do you see here?
Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting. Last year, Troy Carter, a very famous music producer, was also engaged in supporting these scholarships for kids trapped in failing schools. And usually when you get someone from Hollywood involved, you're like, oh no. Usually they're not on the side of free markets or choice. But in this case, they are. And so we're super excited to see Jay-Z getting engaged and really, putting some investment into getting the word out. And I think the big challenge in Philadelphia is, the parents don't know that this program is on the table. And the more they know, the more pressure they're going to put on their lawmakers. And we think that's going to get us in a really good position for getting these Lifeline scholarships through the state budget. And again, these are scholarships, dollars that parents will be able to take to a school of their choice, whatever, school they want to pick, that meets their students' needs. And this is a yes and proposal. So I know like Jay-Z is getting bashed for, taking money away from public schools. Well, we've been increasing funding in public schools for the past 3 years, record increases every single year. And nothing's changing, Don. The kids are still failing. The kids are still in violent schools. And when you poll the parents, they want a way out. They want a way out. So we're really excited to see him coming in and saying, yes, this makes sense. Governor Shapiro, let's do it. And I mean, I'm thinking about Governor Shapiro and how he really likes to put on a PR show. I mean, wouldn't it be great to have a bill signing with Governor Shapiro and Jay-Z, and maybe he can even get his wife involved? I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
Well,
that would be huge.
Think about this. And here's where I'm going with this. So when you think of back when then President Obama, right? Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, that famous The Dance to Beyonce. Remember this? So yep. Jay-Z, Beyonce, the Obamas, when her latest country album dropped, who was tweeting about it and putting out that she loved it on social media? Michelle Obama. So we know that the Obamas are very friendly with Jay-Z and his famous wife, Beyonce. And so to me, this is not a coincidence that here you have a situation where the Obama's buddies and somebody who can cut through and do exactly what you just stated to inform and make sure that every family in Pennsylvania has this on their radar, but especially black families in our cities in Pennsylvania, like Philadelphia, like Pittsburgh, right? Everybody's going to go, what? Jay-Z wants this. Well, Beyonce must want it. Well, Obama must want it. What is this all about? Why don't we have it? And so to me, what I see is this inter-conflict, if you will, within the Democrat Party, the far left progressives, Josh Shapiro. And so are the Obamas trying to help out a Josh Shapiro type in his future endeavors, because he promised this. This was his campaign promise. This is, all my sources say behind the scenes, Shapiro is doing everything and anything to get this thing passed because he line item vetoed it and he broke that promise.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory. Who knows, right? I don't know what the rich and famous do behind closed doors. But yeah, I think, Shapiro is looking for a way to get this done. And he has to be very careful because there are factions within the Democrats. But when you look at who's speaking out against Jay-Z, you look at the media right now, it's generally wealthy suburban progressives. Those are the people pushing back. And those are the people that already have school choice. Their kids go to the best schools. They can afford private school tuition. We're not talking about those communities. We're talking about the communities with schools that have been persistently failing for decades. And the schools that want those kids, the private schools, they have space. They have empty seats, and they would love to serve more of these kids. And when you look at their demographics, they generally serve a much more diverse and a lot of low-income kids. So, all of the, the stereotypes that the progressives are putting up, they're just wrong. They're just wrong. So really excited to see someone of national caliber, national fame getting involved here to help educate parents. Because I've seen some of these Democrat lawmakers, feel the pressure from their constituents, and that's exactly what we need right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just wonder how this plays out because we're hearing more and more, and even the Inquirer had run an article, which I was kind of surprised, I think it was last week or within the past, let's say 10 days, where they're seeing and polling young African-American men who are going for Trump, for example. And so they realize that there are communities who feel forgotten, communities that feel taken for granted in these heavily blue areas. And so for families, once they find out about this, I think they're going to look around and say, what? You see if you denied me this? It's a no-brainer, especially the Lifeline scholarships, right? Because the Lifeline scholarships are different with their stipulations than the general vouchers.
Yeah, so what we're talking about right now is a very targeted, and in the scheme of education spending, a largely insignificant amount of money here. It's $100,000, which is a lot, to you and me. But when you look at Pennsylvania education spending, it's right around 1% maybe of what we spend. So it's a small fraction. And again, we're not taking anything away from district schools. This is adding an option, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to continue working on ways to improve Philadelphia public schools. Absolutely. But we also need something for these kids who have been failed year after year. They can't wait another year. Yes. It makes me so angry, Dawn, that people can look at a mom or a dad trapped in a school where they're scared to send their kid to school every day. Yeah. And the politician says, well, just give us a couple of years. No, you're never going to get that time back. And that kid's going to fall further and further behind, right? So Lifeline now, and we can continue to work on other things going forward. And, at Commonwealth Nation, we think Lifeline is just the beginning. We think there are more kids that need options. It's not just the kids trapped in the low-achieving schools. There are kids that need alternatives all over the state. But this is a really good place to start.
Well, that's the slippery slope that the teachers' union officials fear, because then they lose power. And it really brings us to, I always talk about Matt Bradford and others, but Matt Bradford in Montgomery County, a Democrat, who was reportedly behind the scenes really pressuring the Shapiro, situation where he did that line item veto. But think of Matt Bradford, his kids get to go to school in Montgomery County, so he doesn't have to worry about it. And so these are Democrats denying educational equity, equality, whatever you want to call it, in the poorest performing districts. It's a sin. Can you?
It is.
You highlight in your latest piece that I know the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, they picked it up. Commonwealth Foundation has it as well, obviously. Can you highlight again just that stockpile, the massive reserves that you're talking about? And you looked at all the recent data from the PA Department of Education showing the reserve funds at an all-time high. These are incredible numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, the Inquirer hasn't written a story yet on all-time high education spending.
Shocker.
I'm still waiting for that one. I'd be happy to write it for them. But yeah, we just looked at the reserve funds. So these are essentially savings that districts keep year after year. And with all the rhetoric about how, our schools are underfunded, which isn't true, you would think, well, they don't have any reserve funds or their reserve funds are dwindling. Oh, no. Reserve funds are now up to $6.8 billion across the state. And that's an increase of $836 million just from last year. So their stockpiles are growing.
Unbelievable. And our populations in our most our neediest districts, if you will, such as in Philadelphia, we've had such population loss here. And so that's another piece of it. They have less kids to educate, yet they keep saying we need more and more money.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yes, they're hiring more and more people to educate fewer children. And from all accounts of the testings, doing a worse job. So it's just a mess. And I think the solution here is competition, right? I mean, that's how you get better service. And so giving families more options, that's going to force the schools to compete and do everything they can to support our children, which is what they should be doing anyway. But there are so many, well, let's just say bureaucracy. There's just a lot of bureaucracy that's getting in the way. And so what we're about at Commonwealth Nation is empowering families to make the choices that are best going to support their kids and give them equal opportunity for the future. And that looks different for every family, even for kids within the same family.
Well, we're following what city council here in Philadelphia, as well as what Pennsylvania will do. But it's an important story that we have to stay on. Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Until next time, Commonwealth Foundation. You can check them out. I know you know about them. Quick break here. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210. We want to get to other breaking news of the day, and I want you to hear what happened in a Georgia court. Oh, my goodness. You got to hear this. Stay right there.
It's officially summer, and the Zioli Army is headed to Cape May. Let's storm the beaches of Cape May at the Grand Hotel. Join me for our live show Friday, June 21st. Can't wait to see you there at my happy place, the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. And we're going to have a very special surprise guest hanging out with us as well. So make it a priority. Put it on your calendar today. Friday, June 21st, 3 to 7 p.m. live at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey, grandhotelcapemay.com.
When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have someone else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement but don't have a plan customized to your goals, that's kind of like taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in your suitcase. Seems like a stressful way to start what should be a relaxing time. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to help reduce future taxes, along with a clearly defined income strategy. Call Jim at 610-894-7415 for your complimentary retirement game plan, or visit retirereadyfg.com. That's 610-894-7415.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra in a tribute to Philly sports fans on the Boardwalk in Ocean City, New Jersey, Saturday, July 13th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. I've told you over the years about Dr. Bentz and all the infrastructure he has there, but one thing that he does that you don't see in too many dental offices, with Dr. Bentz, my dentist, whether it's a routine visit or a comprehensive, multifaceted process, he and his team sit down with you, they create a clear plan, explain it step by step. You will see the Bentz difference with that. Contact BentzDentalGroup.com or call 610-272-6949.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we have absolutely incredible offers and a plethora of both new and certified Volvos from which to choose. We are eager to offer amazingly competitive prices, plus an additional $1,000 Costco discount on all new Cherry Hill Volvos. When leasing or purchasing a new or certified Cherry Hill Volvo, you become a valued part of our team. Join Cherry Hill Volvo for the pricing and attention you deserve. I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo.
Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into their radio show Sundays at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Listen to Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sunday mornings at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Learn about investing, tax strategies, and more. Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sunday mornings at 9.
I am a father.
I am a mentor.
I am a wife. I am an artist.
I am a husband.
I am a friend.
I am a sports fan. I am your neighbor.
I am a member of your church.
I am.
I am. I am.
I am a police officer.
Support your local law enforcement officials. Sponsored by the Pennsylvania Fraternal Order of Police. Visit partnersinpublicsafety.com.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So I want to get into Georgia. This is critical. And remember, earlier I had talked about the fact that Georgia, it looked, as of today, Trump, if you believe the latest polls, Trump wins Georgia, but it's definitely a purple swing state. So the latest headline is how the Trump prosecutors are pushing to shut down the removal of DA Fani Willis. Okay. And so there's a back and forth here. Fulton County DA's office, this is Fani Willis, asking a court to dismiss an appeal filed by former President Donald J. Trump in this case of this alleged RICO case, using RICO in Georgia racketeering and election subversion. So they're trying to, again, this is where you see prosecutors, persecutors saying, let's find something. So let's go through and see what we can slap him with, and let's apply RICO when RICO was never intended to be used in this kind of a case. Okay, but they're saying that there's conflict of interest. That those are the allegations involving Fani Willis. Okay, and so the Fulton Chief Senior AD Assistant DA, all right, argued in a motion that was just filed last night in the Court of Appeals of the state of Georgia that the appeal should never have been allowed to proceed due to the lack of evidence, sufficient evidence, based upon the explicit factual findings of the trial court. So as you know, Trump and 8 other defendants in the case asserted that Fani Willis had this conflict of interest in the prosecution and her, quote, personal stake in the prosecution of this case by financially benefiting from her romantic relationship with Special Assistant DA Nathan Wade, whom she personally hired to lead the state's prosecution team. And so this is one of the headlines. I want you to listen as we go through it. This is what you're going to hear in this case is Ashley Merchant, who's one of the lawyers fighting on Trump's side in this RICO case, and showing up to support her fellow lawyer, because remember, they have to, all of these defendants that they're charging and all of these lawyers. So she's now showing up to support a fellow pro-Trump attorney and calls out the judge to his face, this biased judge. And it shows you these weaponized judges in these cases. But she also brought a bunch of other lawyers with her. So I want you to listen to this. Bring it up if you can. It's tough to hear.
There's quite a few other lawyers that want to be present in the court. There's about 20, 25.
The challenge is I have space allocations, as I told you.
So she is, what she is saying here she is objecting to the bias of this judge, and she is bringing other lawyers, and thus far, I think it just shows you the bias of this judge. We have a longer clip, and I know I'm up against a break, so we'll take a break because we have more audio on that regard. But as far as, Fulton County, what they're arguing there is the Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee had already decided that Willis did not benefit financially from this case. Okay, so we had heard that. And so at this point, there's a back and forth, but what they're trying to say is that this judge here delaying all these decisions is a loss for Willis, right? So any delay, as we've talked about, when you see a delay in any one of these Trump cases, what do we see here? It's a win in the Trump column because TikTok, when you have a delay and then you have all of the proper proceedings and the due diligence, etc., now TikTok, we have a November 5th election. And so the longer that these appellate courts, consider the issues and the lawyers go back and forth and they have to file their motions, you see what I'm saying? That's a win for Trump and all of these defendants in the case. So I'll keep you posted on that. Do we have that longer audio? Yes, let's listen in. This is the back and forth.
Note that for purposes of record. Well, I'm going forward. What I was told was that Mr. Copeland said, and you haven't answered my question yet. I'm not going to answer that question. You're not? No, I will not answer that question. Why will you not answer that question? Because I want to make sure that what I say is accurate, and I'm not trying to get
No.
anybody else.
I'm asking you, how did you get this information?
I'm not telling the court. What I'm saying is based upon information.
Okay, well, listen, if you don't tell me how you got this information, then you and I are going to have some problems.
We can have this. I have problems right now.
Okay, I know. Look, I don't want to know about your problems. Okay, at this point in time, all I'm asking you at this point in time is, how did you come upon this information? Look, if the case gets reviewed, the record's going to be available for our appellate court and for whatever reason. But it's disturbing that how somehow you have surreptitiously gotten information in regards to the court's private ex parte conversation with a party. I mean,
a witness who was sworn in Friday. The court's telling, this is what I was told. If this is not true, not true. This court handed Mr. Copeland.
Tell me how you got the information.
Listen, whatever you want to do.
Tell me how you got the information, then we can go ahead and go forward.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. I was told, and I hope this concerns the court.
It concerns me that you have proprietary information.
Why is it
or
proprietary?
Information that you should not be having that was ex parte.
Why?
With a party.
Why?
State of Georgia.
How about the witness? How about Mr. Copeland, who supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said, actually, all of the defendants and then all 26 people are disposed of. If that's true, what this is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have a constitutional right to be present for. So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I did.
Mr. Steele, I still want to know, how did you come upon this information? Who told you?
What I want to know is, why wasn't I there? Why,
sir, I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me who tell me who this information was coming from.
I don't want to be held in contempt. Well, I'm not answering that question.
So
that's attorney-client privilege information.
So here we have, in this case, what they're reviewing is that the Georgia Supreme Court ruling against Fani Willis and the judge, in this one trial, discovering a plot by Willis and the judge to intimidate witnesses. That's the allegation. And so the allegation is how corrupt Willis really is. And so you heard that Steele was held in contempt of court by the judge after revealing he knew what they were planning and that the Georgia Supreme Court had just stepped in to stop him from going to jail. So the plot really is thickening as they're calling out Fani Willis, the prosecutor, and exposing her as this biased, partisan, politicized individual. That's really what you're hearing with the back and forth, and as well these judges. So I'm glad they have the camera in the court so you can see that, and so that we can all see it and have that transparency. All right, I got to take a quick break. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Weather sponsored by Robert Half.
Expect above average temperatures through the rest of the week. We'll see plenty of sunshine today, a bit more humid with a high of around 88. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low 69. And for Friday, partly sunny, hot and humid. Some late day severe storms possible with a high near 90.
Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head and just over $30,000. That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. Optima Tax Relief. They're the best in the business.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
For details, visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, everyone. Matt here from Emmons Roofing and Siding. There are a lot of companies out there that say they do roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Some good, some not so good. Be careful of those that say buy 2, get 2 free. Does that really make sense? Think about it. At Emmons, we don't offer gimmicks, just quality products installed by our experienced craftsmen. We do offer 12 months, same as cash financing, though. That's not a gimmick. That's because we know how tough it is for some people right now to get these projects done. If you need roofing, siding, or windows and doors, call us for a free estimate today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
Summer savings at Hesser Chevrolet. We're rolling out incredible savings on top Chevy models, Silverado and Trailblazer. Drive home a new 2024 Silverado with 1.9 APR for 72 months, up to $4,500 off MSRP, or a 2024 Trailblazer for $299 per month for 36 months. Don't miss out on these special offers here at Hesser Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit HesserChevrolet.com today.
Your way or no way at Hesser Chevrolet. When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Supreme Court unanimously preserves access to mifepristone, the drug used in nearly 2/3 of U.S. abortions last year. Jailed for more than a year, U.S. journalist Evan Gershkovich will stand trial in Russia on espionage charges. Denmark recalls spicy South Korean noodles over health concerns after a viral dare challenge.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Or the joy of early bedtimes? And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Not yet. Do it today. Okay. At 1210 WPHT.
President Donald J. Trump gave us the most secure and prosperous economy in the U.S. history. Unemployment hit record lows. 7 million new jobs created under his leadership. The stock market hit record highs over and over again. Americans' household net worth soared trillions of dollars higher than ever before. And job-killing pacts like NAFTA canceled and replaced by the greatest deal maker alive today. President Trump made our economy great once. He's ready to do it again.
Hi there. This is the Dawn Show at Dawn Stensland. We were going to come in with a cold open of a new Trump campaign ad that has just dropped within less than 24 hours. So let's see if we can bring that to you now. Here it is. No, you don't have it. Okay, never mind. Oh, you know what? I didn't hear it. Sorry about that. I just wasn't hearing it. I'm sorry. That's the latest ad that has just dropped. DJT, Donald J. Trump. And also, you know, there's so much going on with Trump right now with regard to his poll numbers, with the economy, with bringing together Republicans on Capitol Hill. That's where Trump is. After yesterday, his campaign, as I said, unfolding and you know, really unveiling a new campaign headquarters in Reading, PA, with the Latino Americans. So let's listen now to Mike Johnson moments ago speaking out on Capitol Hill.
I made the point in my introduction of him that it's backfired fantastically on the Democrat Party and the activists who are trying to use our judicial system to exact political vendettas against the primary opponent that they have for the control of the country. And what we've seen is outrageous, and we've also seen the polling and the fundraising and everything else go in the direction of the target. President Trump has set fundraising records. He raised $53 million in the first 24 hours after the verdict in that terrible, bogus trial in Manhattan. And I think that shows that people understand what's happening here. We also set fundraising records, and we've continued to. He's announced he's raised over $400 million since the verdict came down, and there's much more to come. And you know why? Because people see that that is a threat to our republic. They see that that's a threat to our system of justice, and they want to push back. And so in many ways, President Trump has become a symbol of that, pushing back against corruption, the deep state, the weaponization of the judicial system, and that's a very encouraging development. So I think that he made the point every time they indicted him, his polls went up. That's right, because people see exactly what's happening here, and we have to fix it, and we will.
That's Mike Johnson, Capitol Hill, as Republicans meet in these closed-door meetings, and you're seeing some party unity, even Mitch McConnell, like I say, and many in Republican leadership. So Trump in D.C. for that one ahead of his birthday tomorrow. By the way, in Philadelphia, just updating you because I started 6 a.m., as you know, reporting on all the local news stories. So we do have one in which Philadelphia police are investigating this man bruised, beat up out of more than $35,000 in cash following an attack in South Philadelphia. So they say that 3 guys wearing dark clothes assaulted him in the parking lot of the CVS. This is the 1900 block of Oregon Avenue early this morning. And the group of 4 a.m. hour, for example, the group of men taking off with the cash in a late model blue Chevy pickup. This according to Philadelphia police detectives. Investigators are not saying if this was a random robbery or if this man was targeted, maybe closing up after an overnight shift, that sort of thing. But was he targeted for the cash? Partly because they're working through a language barrier, apparently, with the victim. And we don't have any other details at this time being released. But another case of the crime and the lawlessness that is abundant in Philadelphia. And so this has, you see in the headlines all the time, every day, oh, crime is down. Well, maybe you perceive there's crime, but no, it's just your perception. So I just wish maybe when the police question, a crime victim, they should have a new box where they say, do you perceive, what are your perceptions? How do you feel right now? Are you perceiving fear after this crime? And I'm obviously being sarcastic, but honest to goodness, they seem to think that they can manipulate stats and the way they report it, whatever they want to say, I don't care. I've reported crime in this city for most of my adult life, and I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like this. And so that's just the truth. I'm just speaking the truth. I don't know what else to say. They can, and by the way, and to be fair, I remember during John Timoney when he was commissioner, and he was accused of, manipulating the way that they reported the crime stats. Okay, so I'm not alleging that, this is all, DA Larry Krasner or something of that. Does this happen in not just big cities across the nation? Sure. You could argue that point. And just during the Timoney administration, because he was all about the media. Remember, he wore his, bike shorts. He was always on a bicycle with his bicycle helmet. He was really into community policing. And by the way, that's something that I think the current mayor, Sherelle Parker, really believes in. But for the Timoney administration, what they were accused of, so let's say let's say there's a smash and grab. It was not uncommon during that time where the police would say, do you really want me to fill out a form? I mean, I had that happen to me, so I can personally vouch for that. Do you want us to fill out the paperwork? Yes, I want you to fill out the paperwork. Even though it's unlikely I'm going to get my stuff back, yeah, it's a smash and grab. I would really appreciate a police form. If you were burglarized, let's just say, then, and maybe they would try to categorize it as something other than the highest level of burglary. You see what I'm saying? And so it depended on, what you were pushing for. And if you knew what to say, then you say, well, why isn't this being investigated by such and such? It was sometimes registered as the lowest level or in a certain column. You see, if the family's home, they can upgrade the burglary if the family's home. So it's not new. It's just supersized. That's what I see. That's my take. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. We had so much happening this morning. I do want to get to talking about Wildwood and the new rules that we've been talking about this morning. I did think it was interesting that they're saying, and this starts tonight down the Jersey Shore, a couple of things that happened yesterday. Number one, they're saying in Wildwood, much like other shore points, like Ocean City did last year, no more backpacks. No more backpacks in Wildwood, on the boardwalk, or the beach after 8 p.m. From 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., no backpacks. Now, you're saying, wait a minute, what about my diaper bag? Or what about a medical bag? Or, okay, they're not talking about that. What about, I have this lovely leather backpack. It's by Coach. My husband got it for me as one of my Christmas gifts, and it's technically a backpack. Are they going to come up to Lair Bear and me and say, you must get off of here? No, because it's it's a pocketbook, and you can see that. I don't even use it I don't wear it like with both straps. Nobody does. So your thoughts on that situation in Wildwood, but as well, what you think about this idea by Republicans in Wildwood to say, you know what, these parents must be held accountable, either in civil court or criminal court. If your kid is running shenanigans, if your kid is causing property damage and they're underage, guess what? We get to sue you. We get to charge you for the property damage, whether it's to the public property, a private business. We can sue you civilly. We're going to come after you. Or we can charge you criminally. What do you think about that as a parent, especially of teenagers? Should parents be held accountable in criminal or civil court? What do you make of that? That's one of the suggestions coming out of our shore communities. 855-839-1210 is the number. Dawn Show comes right back.
Rich Zeoli.
Congressman Byron Donalds, the man himself. Any comments on Biden's executive action on the border?
The man is gaslighting the American people. The reason Joe Biden is doing this is because his poll numbers suck. Let's just call it exactly what it is. Don't mince words. His poll numbers suck because he sucks as a president. He's terrible, and he's got to do a fig leaf of reversing course. And that's what this mess is today. America, do not be confused by this charade and this sham.
Rich Zeoli, weekday afternoons 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Crash Proof Retirement records all financial meetings. All promises made in recorded financial meetings become legally binding between Crash Proof Retirement and the investing client. Crash Proof Retirement provides all of their clients with a certificate of authenticity, further documenting that recording financial meetings brings fiduciary responsibility to the highest level.
I'm Jack Gunning from Bluebell, Pennsylvania. I don't know whether anybody can offer you the security that Crash Proof Retirement does. I have this certificate that tells me they're a fiduciary. Everything is recorded and they have your best interest at heart. That certificate is 100% documentation that you know what they're saying is 100% correct. Other companies don't have this guarantee. This certificate means an awful lot for me, and it should mean an awful lot for you.
Certify your retirement future. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Downingtown Country Club, July 23rd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Introducing the Honickman Center at Jefferson Health. Outpatient care designed by patients like you. Together, we're shaping the future of medicine, where advanced technology and comprehensive services ensure convenience and accessibility for all patients. Everything you need to simplify the complexity of care is available in one location. Uncompromising care, delivered by world-class physicians. To schedule an appointment, call 1-800-JEFF-NET.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, wants you to join in on all the carnage, all the crazy shots, and all the major action this week at Pinehurst. Right now, all customers get Profit Boost every round of the U.S. Major. That means you can boost your outright winners, your longest drive bets, and so much more. Plus, bet on finishing position and get paid in full for ties. You won't see any other sports books doing that. I would tell you, bet on McIlroy. McIlroy this week, I think, plays Pinehurst really well. But don't wait. Go to FanDuel.com/Dom to get started, DOM. Take advantage of your Profit Boost every round at Pinehurst. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable Profit Boost token. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLE.
See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra on a tribute to Philly sports fans at Wildwood Catholic Academy on Saturday, June 29th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
JoeConklin.com! I'm Philomena, founder of Kin Apparel here in Philly. I love my natural hair, but not what hoodies and hats were doing to it. So I made my own satin-lined hoodies and created a business in the process. I've got big dreams, and Chase for Business in Philly was like, all right, how do we get you there?
Get financial guidance from bankers in your community and convenient digital tools all in one place. Learn more at chaseforbusiness.com. Make more of what's yours. Real customers compensated. JP Morgan Chase Bank, NA member FDIC.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Yo, Roy is Ford. We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT.
Yes, we have so much happening and developing today. You just heard Mike Johnson speaking out on Capitol Hill as Republicans meet. It's a big day for Trump. Party unification. Of course, all the so-called mainstream media, their headlines say, oh, Trump in D.C., first time since the insurrection. We even heard, I said to Jimmy Kelly and Henry Meshad, I said, do we have to air those newscasts where they say that stuff? I can't just say J6 riots, if you will, but please, really? We've got that going on. Other headlines, obviously following City Council, Philadelphia City Council, as we're talking a lot about funding, we're talking about new programs, and Mayor Sherelle Parker, her relationship with City Council, it's all important. The breaking story that happened just as I was coming on the air at 10 a.m., for this show, obviously, we've been on the air since 6 a.m. every day, but right in the 10 a.m. hour, we had that unanimous Supreme Court ruling which preserves access to this widely used abortion pill. And that means, well, the Democrats should shut up. That's what that means. They should just shut it when they say that this court, is so biased, right? And so pro-life. Well, if they were, if that's true, okay, because this medication that's mailed to people and it's responsible for more than half of all abortions in the USA. So you're looking at more than 500,000, right? More than, well over that, at least 500,000 a year. That's this medication. So if this was a totally pro-life, totally conservative court, they would have said, no. They would have done everything to shut down this medication. They did not. Because, and perhaps some of them personally in their own faith, it hurt them, to have to rule on this. But what did they do? They stuck with the law and the Constitution. And that's the bottom line here, that this court is not, in fact, a partisan, politicized court. And isn't it ironic when we think about all of these persecutions? I talked about Georgia. We're talking about, I also laid out for you what Trump's team of lawyers are doing as far as the Alvin Bragg case and that biased judge in that case and all of the appeals opportunities they have, what they're looking at. But it's so ironic that they're saying, Judge Alito should recuse himself. But then you look at the true biased judges in some of these state courts. It's a shame, it's a sham, it's a sin, as I often say. So we're looking at that one as well. I have to end on a lighter, brighter note. I love the Kelsey brothers, especially the better, bigger brother, Jason Kelsey. So did you see that Jason and Travis are starting their own. They're going to co-own this beer company, and this is brilliant. Plus, it gives Jason the excuse, especially, to drink beer. What guy does not want an excuse to drink beer, right? Because if you're, love beer, which, he does, you can say, well, honey, this is product placement. If I'm out and about, I got to ding, do my product placement and drink my beer. I mean, Jimmy Kelly, Henry, Machette, would you like to have your own beer, named after you? Henry Beer, the Jimmy Brew. Come on. You would love this.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, who wouldn't want to have their own beer? And I can already see, like, Jason and maybe even Travis heading down to the OD and Sea Isle and having, like, a day of it. Everyone drinks their beer that night or that day, whatever it may be.
So would you buy their beer?
Totally.
What about you, Jimmy? You're not a big beer drinker, though.
Are you kidding me? Yes, I am. Dope beer, my one weakness, my one Achilles heel. Of course I would buy it. I should bring it here. We'll do a taste test right here on the air.
That's an idea.
Ooh, let's have a beer. No, don't you guys remember the Dr. Maz water tasting? This was years ago when Zioli was off and we were still on afternoons. And it was Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli, and we had a water tasting contest. It was a disaster. I still don't hear the end of it. So we're not having a beer tasting. Won't happen.
I think beer tasting is a little more better than water tasting.
No, I don't know. But Jason Kelsey, they're the largest investors in the so-called Garage Beer, which is a small light beer company founded in their home state of Ohio. I don't know. I think we need a Dom Giordano beer first. We have to, maybe we could do like a Dom beer. What do you think, Dom?
I have to say I'm out on the beer.
Yeah.
It's wine all the way.
Red wine.
In fact, I'm bringing to Mulligan, shameless next week, Dom Time wine.
Ooh.
I have one left over, Dawn. No wine in there, just the label and the whole thing. And the hair was especially done for it. So we have Mike Rowe today at 2 o'clock. And I am so thrilled with the Supreme Court decision, Dawn, because this is going to take all the steam out of just making abortion.
Amen, brother. Dom's show is right now.
Diabetes,